So hey guys, welcome back to my channel. How are you all doing today? I hope you all are doing very well. In today's brand new video, I am going to try to trade based on the Wicks index. By the way, I mostly use purely price, support and resistance, and technical analysis. As always, but in today's video, I will try something a little bit different. Here, I am going to try to trade by specifically looking at the wicks, like if a particular candle forms a wick, what kind of indication does it give us? I am going to try something like that. I have already placed 3 separate trades right here, and all 3 of them have been quite profitable. These 3 trades that I placed were also based entirely on the candlestick wicks. So now the next concept I am going to look at is exactly how these wicks work, and I will also study the psychology of the candlesticks. Only after that will I decide in which direction I should move for my next trade. So first of all, I am going to change the chart displayed here because it is incredibly important to find a specific chart with good price movement. So I am currently trying to find some long wicks here, and I can clearly see a very long wick right here. I will cover it carefully using a rectangle tool, marking the upper level where the price reached its absolute high and the lower level where the actual body of the candle first started to form. I will try to cover it in this exact way to ensure accuracy. Now this is the upper resistance level, which can also be called the seller zone, and the market is currently trending significantly lower, so it's not very suitable for a trade here. Maybe I will just wait a little bit longer to place a trade here for now. Otherwise, I am going to keep trying to find more of these long wicks in the same way. For example, looking on the lower side right here, you can clearly see these long wicks, so I have created a zone here covering both of these wicks. I can call this our support zone, or I can also call it the buyer's zone. On the upper side of the chart, I've carefully created this specific seller zone. In this way, I'll keep trying to find more significant wicks right here so that I can get much better clarity. If there are indeed long wicks here, does the market really move according to them or not? So I'm actively trying to find several long wicks just like this one. Right here, I am going to take a rectangular shape and carefully try to adjust its position according to the long wick shown on the chart. Here is our specific rectangle, and I am currently adjusting it right here in this spot. We are focusing on that very long wick that is clearly visible on the upper side of the price action. In this way, I have now covered the entire area here. So first, I am going to try to find several different wicks so that it becomes much easier for us to analyze the chart. And then on the lower side as well, I have carefully adjusted a rectangle according to a particularly long wick. I have carefully established several specific zones, including the support zone, the buyer zone, the seller zone, and the resistance zone, and I make it a strict rule that I never place a trade within any of these identified areas. I actively avoid trading between any of these zones because I have observed that there is usually a lot of consolidation within them, so I prefer to avoid trading there altogether. Right now, I am switching between 4 different charts to see if I can spot a specific chart with strong movement, which would allow me to perform some detailed technical analysis. In this instance, I have placed a trade in the downward direction for a total of $500. First, I will draw a rectangle right here. I noticed a very long wick on the upper side of the candle, so I have drawn a rectangle based on that long wick, and this now becomes our primary resistance zone on the upper side. Consequently, I feel that the overall market movement should be somewhat bearish, and there is a high probability that a bearish candle will form here. At the same time, I have also drawn a rectangle on the lower side based on another wick, which indicates to me that the market should at least come down to this specific point, because there is a green candle on the lower side, so the market should at least touch this level before reacting. After that occurs, the market might potentially bounce back up. So finally, this particular trade ended up being quite profitable for me, and a very strong bearish mother candle was formed. Now, it is entirely possible that after hitting the resistance level, the market comes down, and now there might be a retracement candle, meaning the market might not go any further down for the time being. Therefore, I will try to change the chart here and look for a much better chart to analyze. Because I feel that if I can find a good chart, then I can also identify support and resistance levels well. When I can identify good support and resistance, I can also draw them there. So here, I'll draw a rectangle. I will once again try to carefully place the rectangle in the exact same way according to the long wick. I see a very long wick on the upper side, so I have placed the rectangle right there covering that entire wick. And here I am going to take a trade in the downward direction, which I have just now done. I have extended the rectangle on the upper side, which is currently sitting at $500 because it is clearly working as a strong resistance level. When there is a long wick on the upper side, I feel that there is significant selling pressure there, which is exactly why I have taken a trade in the downward direction. As for the rest, here in support and resistance, or you could say, in price action trading, we simply can't place a trade based on just one particular candle alone. And it's also not really right to make predictions or take trades based on just one single candle. But overall, you can look at the market here to see which direction the overall market movement is in. One more very important thing I want to tell you is that I am not giving any financial advice. Whenever you take any trade here, make sure to conduct your own research first because trading is not as easy as it might initially appear. Always remember that it's actually quite risky. That's why it is important to pay close attention to risk management and money management. So my trade here is in a healthy profit now, specifically in DJPY. So once again, now I will try to find a similar kind of chart here where there are long wicks. Well, not necessarily very good ones, but quite long wicks, because if there are long wicks present, then the SNR levels can be marked very well there. So I will try to find this specific kind of chart now. Let me take a quick look at the NSD CAD pair once more just to see exactly how the current market movement is going. It definitely seems to be moving sideways in a range, but I noticed there are quite a few long wicks appearing in this one too. I can clearly see a very prominent long wick right here, so I am going to draw a solid horizontal line at this level. Sometimes along with the standard horizontal line, I also like to use the specific concept of wicks to find my entries. So for this particular horizontal line, I will mark the zone from the highest price point down to where the candle body actually starts, and I will address the entire area in the exact same way. Now overall, you get an idea that from here there is selling pressure and the market movement is downward from here, but from this point, the market has been bullish. So many times the market tests this level and then moves in a downward direction. Besides that, to identify a trend here, you have to look at a lot of different concepts. On the downside, I have marked this as a support level, and when the market is breaking this level here, at this point it doesn't seem right to rely on the support level here because the price action is quite unpredictable. So I feel that I should definitely avoid trading in this specific chart. The market is moving a bit sideways right now and there's no significant movement or clear trend to follow. That's exactly why we'll avoid placing any trades here for the time being. Instead, I'll try to find a much better chart that has good movement and also features long wicks on the candles. Like right here, where you can clearly see a very long wick on the upside, indicating a strong rejection. So right here, I am going to draw a horizontal line across the chart. I will place this specific line exactly at its high price, and then after successfully copying it, I have also placed a level on the lower side to mark the bottom. Now this establishes a zone on the top of the chart, which I'll call the resistance zone, or you could also call it the seller zone. From here, the market has been consistently bearish. There are many such significant price movements currently visible across the market. If I take a closer look at this specific area here, you can clearly see that I have spotted another prominent long wick, so by carefully covering the full extent of that wick, I can also create a very effective trading zone right here in this section. In this way, I have created this zone here. This has become a support zone. From here, I can say to stay bullish in the market as there has been buyer's pressure. So within this zone, I have often noticed that there is market consolidation, which is why I generally avoid taking any trades there. And as we can see currently, this area was the support zone, but now the market is moving well below it. So I think it is trying to break its support level here. Apart from that, I will try to find a specific chart here, preferably one that shows some very clear examples. The strategy I have in mind is based on the wick concept. So here I placed a trade in the downward direction. Why exactly did I do that? Because I feel that from here, the market movement should be downward since the previous candle has a very long wick on the upper side. And I think that if the upper wick is long, it indicates significant selling pressure there. But this isn't a sure thing. Trading is quite risky. And absolutely nothing is ever 100% certain in this particular market environment. Let's see what happens here. But most of the time, I feel that if the previous candle has a long wick on the upper side, it shows a selling movement there. But we can't be absolutely certain about this either, okay? So whenever you take a trade, it is very important to do your own research first. Don't invest your money just based on someone else's advice or strategy because it is very risky. Always trade carefully. So here, as you can see, a bearish trend has formed and this trade of mine has been profitable. So that is basically the fundamental concept of the VIX index, and this specific strategy has worked quite well over the years. I have personally traded according to this concept several times in the past as well, and I have consistently seen some pretty good results from those trades. Right now, however, I am not seeing any particular high probability opportunities in the market, so I will be carefully avoiding any new trading positions for the time being. So that is all for this educational video on how we can effectively read and interpret the VIX. And to understand the psychology of a candle, we also need to look at the wicks. What is any particular candle trying to tell us, whether there's selling pressure or buying pressure? It's important for us to understand the psychology of a particular candle. Only then can we decide these things. So, in today's video, I actually traded based on the VIX and it went quite well for me. If you like the video, please make sure to give it a big like. And if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe to us at all for more content, because you'll keep getting this kind of informative content on this channel. See you in the next video. Thank you.